it. So don't tell Steve. He's going to tell me to record the Misa, so he can put it out there with Rav Shach. Amen.
The moral of the story: everyone should keep the weddings local.
The moral of the story: everyone, local. I don't know. Who knows? Okay. Anyway, we're up to the Mishnah on Sadek Chesla Midbeis. A person can stand in Rishus HaYachid and carry in Rishus HaRabim. So this is very interesting because, again, you have to medayik very clearly what exactly is going on over here. So let's see. A person is standing in Rishus HaYachid u'metaltel b'Rishus HaRabim. In other words, he's carrying in Rishus HaRabim. He doesn't, and the chiddush is we're not geyser that maybe he may come to take it from here and bring it into his house. So, Oymin Adam B'Rishus HaYachid, you can stand in Rishus HaYachid, u'metaltel b'Rishus HaRabim. Now, notice the 4 amit mark over there, because that's important. So now, Rishus HaRabim, you can stand in Rishus HaRabim, u'metaltel, and you can carry, right, B'Rishus HaYachid. Same thing. U'bevad shelo yotzi chutz mi-arba amis. Provided you don't go outside Arba Amis. Rashi says if you go outside Arba Amis, then we're scared. We're not the chiddush of the Mishnah is that you won't bring it to you, but if you go outside of Arba Amis, then it's a problem because you can carry it in 4 Amis. That's the chiddush of the Mishnah. Second din of the Mishnah, a person shouldn't stand in Rishus HaYachid and urinate in Rishus HaRabim. Baruch, you're not getting pictures. Rishus HaRabim, v'yashtem Rishus HaYachid. A person should stand in Rishus HaRabim and vice versa, right? V'chein lo yorach. You shouldn't also expectorate. You shouldn't go ahead and spit. You should go ahead and do this. Rashi says, v'yashtem Rishus HaRabim, the mafik Rishus HaYachid, Rishus HaRabim. You're going ahead and bringing an object from Rishus HaYachid, Rishus HaRabim. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, even when the roik loosens in your mouth, you shouldn't walk 4 amis at shiyorak until you go ahead and expectorate. Right? Because since guys, you're carrying it in your mouth, and the purpose in your mouth is to spit it out, it's considered a masli, it's considered a load, and you're carrying. It's considered a masli, it's considered a load. Now, let's look ahead at Kuf Aleph Amid Aleph. Says the Mishnah, "Layamid Adam b'Rishus HaYachid v'yiftach b'Rishus HaRabim." You shouldn't stand in Rishus HaYachid and open up in Rishus HaRabim. Rishus HaRabim v'yiftach b'Rishus HaYachid. Okay, why? Because we're scared you're going to bring the key in. Reb Meir. So clearly, Reb Meir is not like our Mishnah. If you notice the Mechaber, the Pirish Chai drew a person with a key. And he said you could go ahead, and as long as we're in the 4 Amis, you could go ahead and make your metalto. Clearly not like Reb Meir of this Mishnah. Backed by us. Masila Reb Chinina bar Shalmei Lechia barav Kamei derav Layamin Odam b'Rishus HaYachid u'metalto b'Rishus HaRabim. You shouldn't stand in Rishus HaYachid and carry in Rishus HaRabim. So in other words, Reb Chinina, this is like the 3rd time in the Masechta we've had this. Reb Chinina was teaching. He was teaching Chia, the son of Rav, and Rav heard what he told him, and he corrected him because he taught him what lo yamed adam b'Rishus HaYachid v'tat b'Rishus HaRabim. He taught him like Rav Meir on the Mishnah on Kuf Aleph that you can't go ahead, stick your head out the window, and do this back and forth. Amalei says Rav Shavskei Rabbanon. You leave the Rabbanon of our Mishnah, who says you could, the majority opinion, of the Reb Meir in the Mishnah Kuf Aleph. So now, who Savar? Reb Chinina held with the Sefer Reb Meir, Reish Nami Reb Meir. And I guess there must be what? A mistake, right? V'loihi, Sefer Reb Meir, Reish Rabbanon. The Sefer is Reb Meir and the Reish is Rabbanon. Okay? So therefore, he was corrected. He said that a person, provided he doesn't take it outside of Arba Amis. Oh, I see. If he would go over Arba Amis, Chayiv Chatas. Now, guys, here's what he's doing. He's picking it up in Rishus HaRabim, going over 10 tefachim, which is a makom patur, and putting it down 4 amas away. So this would be apparently be a chiddush that even though you're not going directly 4 amas in the Rishus Rabbim, you're picking it up and going over. Nonetheless, you'll be chayiv. Lema masaya leila Rava. Let's say it's a raya to Rava. Dama Rava hamadver chayfetz mitchilas arba l'soif arba. Someone who picks up a chayfetz and zma'avir and goes ahead and carries it over a Rishus Rabbim, meaning in a makom patur. Anything above 10 tefachim is a makom patur, right? Ve'avir derech lav chayiv. So l'chayra a mishnah would be a raya. You could go ahead and carry it back and forth, provided you don't go outside of 4 amas. If you do go outside of 4 amas, you be chayiv, despite the fact you're carrying it over an airspace of a makom patur. It doesn't say, it just says, guys, you shouldn't go ahead and go outside arba amas. Why do you assume that if you do, you be chayiv chatas? I could just as easily assume that if I go outside the arba amas, since I came from a makom patur, but the avalasa. So you have it's no riot around. It's no riot around. The same dialogue, the opposite way. Ikadiyarmi hahaitzi pata avalasa. If you go like this, pick it up and go put it down, it pata avalasa. This is a kasha on Rav. Lema davitiyuf to the Rava. Excuse me, I keep on saying Rav. Rava. Lema davitiyuf to the Rava. Dama Rava hamavir mitchilas dalad the slave dalad. If you pick up something at the beginning of dalad and you put it at the end of dalad. It says the Gemara, not necessarily the kasha, the other way around. Mikatani haitzi potter. It doesn't say haitzi potter. Avalasar. Dilmim haitzi chayiv chatas. In other words, there's no raya, there's no kasha, there's no telling exactly what the halacha is if you go outside 4 amas. I know within 4 amas you can do it. What the halacha is outside 4 amas? Ken zayin you be chayiv chatas. Ken zayin you want. Why? Because you're coming from a makom patur. We said a person should stand in Rishus HaYachid and be mashed him into Rishus HaRabbim. Rabbi Yosef, Hishtin v'roik, if you do urinate and you do go ahead and spit, chayiv chatas. You chayiv chatas. Now here's the problem. In order to be chayiv v'yitzah, you need 2 components. You need an akira, you have to pick it up, and a hanacha, you have to put it down. You need an akira in Rishus HaYachid or an achnas or akira and anach Rishus Rabbim, or vice versa. When you expectorate or when you urinate, where's your akira? Good, your hanacha is there. Where's your akira? Where's your oiker? Where's your oiker? Fred says the Gemara. How can you tell your Rabbi to tell me? You be chayiv chatas. I want be in akira v'anacha me'agabe makom balid v'leka. You need a kira and a nacha makam dakim. You may remember, fellas, in Sefta Shabbos, we said the ani puts in the hands of the balabayas and vice versa. The Gemara asked, you need a person's hand. You need 4. You need a 4. You don't have it. So we answered, a person's hand is considered 4. We spoke out of Rambam. The whole purpose of 4 is it's a makam chashivus, right? Because it's going to stay there. A person has the capacity to hold something. So despite not having the area needed, since he has the capacity to hold it and keep it, it's considered like it's 4 amas, 4 tefachim. You may remember that. You may not remember that. Okay? It was a little while ago, probably about 250 blot ago.
And the body's not considered holding like a yad?
What?
The body, while it's holding, the body came in from Rishus. He came in from the outside of Rishus. He came back in. His body's
not a makom chashiv. It's not a makom chashiv. Your mouth or your aver.
Lays, how could somebody flush a toilet on Shabbos? I mean, the water
just go like this.
No, but I understand that. But the water is going from yours. Person goes to the bathroom and then he goes to Rishus Harabim. The water flows out from your Rishus to the. I mean, what's the base of the head?
It could. I don't know. It could be that it's not my Rishus Harabim proper. It could be what is different. We said the 90, maybe what is different.
Your waist.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 Gemaras. We had the Gemara, go back to the Gemara. Remember the shoot, right? We said you can go ahead and pull the water up, but you can't throw it down the chute, right? Why? One opinion was because it's going to flow out, right? The other one seemed to be that there wasn't any problem. So like the other opinion, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Where's your? I mean, what? So where was your akira?
Well, your hanacha.
Where was your anacha? You know, it's again, it's
your.
the
It's
main thing is- Hash, do me a favor.
also.
Yehuda, to be quiet. Yehuda, to be quiet. The main thing is just keep on flushing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes, Yehuda.
No, it's koich also. It's not you're not
No,
making
again,
it's
not
happening.
Again, akira anacha is nothing to do with
I hear
koich.
what you said.
You don't have akira. You don't have an akira. You didn't uproot anything.
Can we have the case where you dumped something in your property, just as long as you have it covering on top, it was allowed to go out?
If it's covered up,
Right.
yeah, the cesspool,
That's accessible. Isn't that the same
the
thing?
uka.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that uka, but only because it can get absorbed in your rishus. How's saying that it goes out of your rishus? How's saying it's going out of your rishus? Okay.
Okay, sure. I got it.
Okay. So now, Freddy Marakasha, you need an akira of a makam chashiv and you don't have it, right? So how does it work? You need an akira of a makam chashiv and you don't have it. So listen to this. And for the Gemara, machshavasai mashvilei makam. His machshava creates the makam. Says Rashi, machshavasai go up to 2 lines where it gets thin. Machshavasai sutzarach lekach. He has to expectorate. He has to urinate. Mashvilei hoitzach hashuva. It makes it hoitzach hashuva. It makes it hoitzach hashuva. Again, we know that hoitzah is a mlacha gerua. There's no change in the object that you're going ahead and transporting. We said that's the rule we spoke out. Every other av malacha, there's a change in the object, exception of hoitzah. So therefore, the act of hoitzah really is really the point A to point B. So over here, the fact that I want to go ahead and transport this from point A to point B, that act is machshavit. Shoot sarf lekach. I need it. I need to get rid of it. I need to urinate. That goes ahead as the machshav that I want this. I want this transport. And therefore, it makes it an akira. The loitei mahachi, says the Gemara, if you don't say so, hadam arava, zorek v'noyach b'pikelev. You throw something, it enters in a dog's mouth. Kivshan. Now over here, fellas, the chayiv chatos for being an anacha gabi makam daled v'leka. Our kasha was we need an akira from a makam chashav. This is a raya you need a hanacha b'makam chashav, right? This is a raya you need a hanacha b'makam chashav v'leka, and you don't have it. How don't you have it, right? You have to go ahead, and you have to say the following. You have to say his machshava is machshavit into a makan. His machshava goes ahead and makes it into a makan. Hachanami machshava mashvilei makan. The same thing. Tosfos just points out, if you look at Tosfos, third Tosfos down, machshava mashvilei makan. Dafka b'chiyah gavna the nena boys the makan. It has to be have a no. Feimed b'makan acher, more than another place. Going to be pikelev sheyachlenu. When you go throw something, you want your dog. If your dog eats it, you're getting hana. It would be a kivshan. You're flaming a fire, so you're having hana. So, but if I just throw something and it doesn't land in the makom chashav, I'd be potter. Who I didn't over here, fellas? You want very much to go ahead and expectorate. You want to urinate, and again, that explains the Rashi of the chashivas. Boy Rava, hu b'rishus hayachid upi ama b'rishus harabim. His bladder is in rishus hayachid. And his aver is in Rishus Harabim. Mahu, Basra Akira Azlinon. Do we go after the place where you oika from the bladder and therefore you be chayiv? Or you Basi Yitzia Azlinon and they're both in Rishus Harabim and you be potter? Teku, the Mishnah says, Teku. V'chein, lo yoruk, lo yoruk. You should not go ahead and expectorate and in your mouth and keep it in your mouth, because if you do, when you walk, you be chayiv v'chatas like Reb Meir, like Reb Yehuda, because it's a maser. Now let's be mechalik between saliva and phlegm. Saliva is what? The enzymes in your mouth, the what we call spit, And phlegm is what you bring up from your throat and you spit out. You mean to tell me just the fact that he has wet in his mouth, he's chayiv, even if he doesn't go ahead and swirl it around in his mouth. Mashma, swirling it around in your mouth gives it more of a chashivus. If you swirl it around in your mouth. Rashi says, guys, any one of us at any time has a wet mouth. If you swirl it around, meaning you're gathering it together, that's one thing. But stamazoi, your salivary glands are going ahead and giving off, water in your mouth, saliva. You're going to tell me over there what? That you be chayiv? So Rabbi Yehuda says the Gemara, Vatanya. Now, we all know by now, in order for a food to be makabel tumah, it has to be muksha. Good? It has to be muksha kabel tumah. So if it's truma, and your hands are a sheni, and it's wet truma, that you were happy that it got wet, and you touch it, it will be tameh. So the question is, you have truma in your mouth, your hands you didn't wash, and now you're touching the truma. Do we say the saliva was a liquid to go ahead and be machsha the truma in your mouth to makabel tumah or not? Three shitas. You're eating devela, you're eating truma, a date with dirty hands, meaning there's shenis. You got a little pebble or some pit and you want to take it out. Reb Meir Matama says, Reb Meir, automatically the water in your mouth is machsharit. Reb Yossi Mataher. Reb Yossi says your water in the mouth is not mataharit. Reb Yehuda says it depends. If you swirl it around in your mouth, then tamei. So the chayra, saliva is only chashiv saliva if you swirl it around. So how can you say in our Mishnah if you chayiv just for walking out with a wet mouth? The chayra, it has to be what? You have to go ahead and swirl it around. Some Rabbi Yochanan Mechlefes Hashita, right? In our Mishnah, change it. It has to be that you swirled it around. The Mishnah in Kalim is very convincing regarding the need to swirl around. So just like there, it's only choshev if you swirl it around to be mashra the truma. Who adin to be considered a masri, to be considered something, you need to swirl it around. So we're going ahead and we're changing the Mishnah. Yes, Yehuda.
But doesn't there have to be bevchiyutan that you want the water to be there? So what's the swirling? So what's the swirling or not?
Hasteless, you want it to be there, or b'chiyitan could be on crops that are outside your mouth. But again, you want your water in your mouth. No one wants a dry mouth.
Okay.
Don't switch it around. And I'm just speaking b'kichai. It's not speaking about what? It's not speaking about spit, saliva. It's speaking about phlegm, which comes up from the throat, which certainly is something you want to get out of your mouth. I've had Tanya of Yudoim Kichai v'nitlish mai, lav roik v'nitlish. Does he not mean both? Like Kichai v'nitlish. But Tanya of Yudoim Kichai v'shenitlish, v'chein roik v'shenitlish, lo yahalif dal ramas, Kichai that got dislodged, and saliva that got dislodged, and they gathered together in your mouth. You can't walk 4 ramas at sheyorik until you spit it out. So you see that there's no difference between phlegm and saliva. But shenitlish that and again we see from the Mishnah and Kalim by hechsher, it has to be what? It has to be swirled around. Like Rabbi Yochanan answered, it's speaking Mechlefes Hashita, and the Mishnah in Eruvin, I'm Mishnah here in Eruvin that says you only chayiv if you walk with spittle in your mouth. It's only if you swirl it around. If you go ahead and spit in front of your Rebbe, Chayv Misa Shnemar, Kol Misanai, Oyavoy Mobes. All that hate me, love death. I'll take it in the Misanai. Don't read it as those who hate me. Elam Lasniai, those who cause others to hate me. Those who cause others to hate me by belittling a Talmud Chacham. For Mena honest, he had a spit. What can he do? It's an inus. Says the Gemara, Kichev Kamina. We don't mean an inus, we mean a person who brings it up dafka and and spits it out. In that case, we're talking about. Well, okay, next. Let's go to next. Let's go to the next big screen. There you go. Well, actually, that's not it. Make believe that he's in Rishus Harabim, like he is, and this is Rishus HaYachid. So it says, Lo Yamid Adam Rishus HaYachid v'yishte Rishus Harabim. Don't stand in Rishus HaYachid and drink in Rishus Harabim, or vice versa, Rishus Harabim yishte Rishus HaYachid. You know why? We're worried that you're going to bring the kli towards you, right? Different than here. It's a steer to here, guys, right? Because here we weren't worried you're going to bring the kli. Here you are worried you're going to bring the kli. And right? You got to put most of your body in the head. This is a wine press. The guy is indulging in a little vino, right? And indulging in a little vino, you have to have your body, most of your body in. Now, like a sukkah. In the house, you got it in the sukkah. Now, because look, this apparently is a stira. We let this guy do this, and we're not worried he's going to bring it into the house. Yet we won't let him do this unless Rosh Ruba, because we're worried he's going to bring it in, right? We're worried he's going to transport it back. So what's the difference? Fred the Gemara, Reisha Rabbanon, the Reisha with the key is the Rabbanon that we're not worried that he's going to be back in the house. The Sefer Reb Meir, and the Sefer is Reb Meir, because the Sefer you are worried. And that's the Reb Meir on the Aleph that we saw, right? And we jumped ahead a little bit. Reb Yosef, it's chafetzim that people need, and it's divrei hakol. If it's something that somebody needs, right? Even the chachamim would be moida that you're worried you're going to bring it in. Even the chachamim moida, since it's something you need. Even the chachamim. A guy asked me a shayla today. He said it was a corona minion. He was outside. He's standing ostensibly in the street in Rishus Harabim, and there's a sefer, there's a chumash, a siddur in Rishus HaYachid on top. Can he do it? So the chayra, based upon this, again, I'm not passing. I'm just fearing guys from the Gemara. Based upon this, since the siddur is something you would bring to you, would take to you, you shouldn't be able to do it, right? In the same svara, because even the chacham mamoida, it's different than an object that you don't need. You may be apt to bring it towards you. Okay. Now, v'chein begaster. Okay. Iboilahu. Karmelis mai. What about if you're in Rishus HaYachid or Rishus Harabim, and it's a Karmelis? What's the din? We know you can't go from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus Harabim. Can you drink from a Karmelis to Rishus Harabim? Can you drink from a Karmelis to Rishus Harabim? Amar Abaya, same halacha. No difference Rishus HaYachid, no different Karmelis. You can't stand at a Karmelis and drink from Rishus Harabim. We're scared you're going to bring it towards you. Amar Rava. Now, we all know what a Karmelis is, guys, right? Karmelis is usually a large area or anything that is less than 10 and 4 tefachim wide, right? By the time it's Bezek Zova, we're going to give you a bechina. We're going to ask you the three shuyos. You're going to tell me Rishus HaYachid is anything that's 10 by 4. A Karmelis is anything less than 10 by 4. And a Malka Patur is anything that's the width is less than 3. Good. Amar Rava, he grew for Gezerah. Va'anan nekim v'nigza Gezerah leGezerah. Guys, what's the reason you can't carry in a Karmelis? Because you may go from Rishus HaYachid to a Karmelis. You may go from Rishus Harabim to a Rishus HaYachid. But in other words, you're worried a Karmelis. You guys are on a Karmelis because it's similar to a Rishus HaYachid if it's less than 10 and less than 10, but it's similar, and it's similar in an area where it's large. Then it's similar to Rishus Harabim. Therefore, you can't carry 4 in the Karmelis. So here you have a problem. If you would bring a kli from the Karmelis into Rishus HaYachid or vice versa, you'd be pater. It's all the Rabbanon. So now what? I'm going to make a gezerah. You can't drink from Rishus Harabim to a Karmelis to a Rishus HaYachid. Gezerah what? You may come to go ahead and transport it. The transport itself is a Gezerah to Rishus Harabim, Rishus HaYachid. It's 2 steps, guys. First step, why can't you go from a Karmelis to a Rishus HaYachid? Because you may go from a Rishus Harabim to Rishus HaYachid. Good. That's step number 1. Why can I drink from a Karmelis to Rishus HaYachid? Because I may take it from the Karmelis into Rishus HaYachid. And if I do, so what? And if I do take it in, it's still a Gezerah. Look at Rashi, guys. Hiku for Gezerah. Ida ayal gabe kli. If you bring a kli from the Karmelis to Rishus HaYachid, leka isur deraisa, el Gezerah derabanan. It's all the Rabbanik. Why? And you shouldn't mix up other Rishuyos. Va'anan nikam, and now come along and decree the nigzar shtia atu achnas is clearly that if you drink, you may come to bring the kli in. The kli itself is a gezerah, so it's 2 gezeras. 1, drinking, I'm going to bring the kli in, and 2, the kli itself is a gezerah atu Rishus HaYachid Rishus Harabim. So Rava vehemently disagrees with Abaya, who says it's Rabbi doesn't make a distinction. Abaya doesn't make a distinction. Why? Because Abaya holds, since, again, I always hack this, since Haitzah is such a malacha gerua, and it's so easy to be over, even b'maka gezerah, you would not be able to go ahead and bring it from, we'd be goyzer in the Karmelis. Ad kedei kach. He says Abaya, it's the same thing. Rishus HaYachid, Karmelis, the same thing. We're going to go ahead and say it's the same gezerah. Because again, because of the severity of Haitzah. Amar Abaya, min Allah. Where do I know this din from? Where do I know, in fact, that a Karmelis you can't use? Midiktani Amibeis, v'chein begas. I said v'chein begas. Right? It says v'chein begas, meaning what? A gas is a Karmelis, pashtus, and you can't go ahead and drink from the gas unless you have most of your body in there. So therefore, I know that the Karmelis has the same din as a Rishus HaYachid. For Rava Amar le'inyan Maisa, no, you're mixing up 2 things about it. That wasn't Haitzah din. The Maisa was a din of Achilas Keva and Achilas Aroy. As long as my head is in the vat, I could drink it without separating Truma or Maisa. Once my head comes out of the vat and I bring it to me, then already it's Achilas Keva, a Shtiyas Keva, right? And I'd have to take up Trumas and Maisa. So it has nothing to do with Haitzah. Nothing to do with Karmelis. It has to do the same din that applies by Shabbos applies vis-a-vis the halacha of Achilas Keva and Achilas Aroy. Fascinating, right? V'chein Amar Rav Sheshes, v'chein begas le'inyan Maisa. Tidnan shoysin ala gas. You're able to drink while you're in the gas. Bein bechamin, whether you diluted it with hot water, and there's no way, Jose, that you're going to throw it back into the main vat because they might spoil it. Bein bitsoinen, whether it's cold, and you would throw it in, pata, right? Upata, you pata, take off Trumas and Maisa, the Reb Meir. Why? Because it's an achilas aroy. Rabbi Eliezer at Tzaddik mechayev. He says you mechayev, even with your head in the vat. It depends. Why? Because when you dilute it with hot water, it's already showing that you're considered outside the vat, because there's no way you're going to throw it back in. Because you drink the wine, it's whatever you have left over, you vomit back in. So Mamela has nothing to do with Karmelis, and therefore Rava says, I disagree with you. It's a gezerah, and the din of drinking is only from Rishus Harabim to Rishus HaYachid, and it's not from a Karmelis. Okay, let's go one more. You have a drain pipe. There's water going off the roof into the drain pipe. You're able to stand over here, below in the Rishus Harabim, and the water comes down into over here. What you can't do, guys, is mitzaref. Why? This is within 3 tefachim. This is within 3 tefachim of the house. Since it's within 3 tefachim of the house, it's considered Rishus HaYachid. If you take it over here, you're going to be transporting it from Rishus HaYachid into Rishus Harabim. So this you could do, because it's going to land in the Rishus Harabim. Over here you can't, because why? Because you are going to transport it from Rishus HaYachid to a Rishus Harabim.
What do you want to do?
A person can go ahead and he can catch from the ear, from the drain pipe, l'matam yutfachim, which is considered the ear space of Rishus Harabim, uminat sinor, and if the sinor from a pipe, from a drain pipe, which is going to be less than 3, so it's going to be a makom patur, we call makom any which way, shoisa and drink. That's the din in the Mishnah. Coil it in, dafka if you go ahead and catch it from the drain pipe, avam it's sarif, but if you put the kli right up to the top, loy. My timer, what's the reason? So Rav Nachman, hacha b'maschila, pachas migimel semich l'gagaschina. We're dealing with a drain pipe that's less than 3 next to the gag, so it has a din of Rishus HaYachid. The chol pachas migag, migimel, semich l'gag, ki gag dami. Therefore, if you're going to go ahead and put your kli, again, you're going to put your kli all the way on top over here, you're going to be transporting it from here into the Rishus Harabim. Mashenkin over here, it's already in the Rishus Harabim once it falls. Okay, I think this is another din. A person can stand on a rooftop in Rishus HaYachid, and then go ahead and lift his hands up to another Rishus HaYachid, another rooftop, me'asar tefachim, the pachas mishloisha soimach l'gag, less than 3 next to the gag, the koilet. Ubavachli it's sarif, provided he doesn't go ahead and be mitzarif. Tanya idach lo yamid adam Rishus HaYachid yagbi yad l'mayla me'asar tefachim, the pachas mikabot soimach l'gag, al koilet hu v'shoisa, he can go ahead and be koilet and drink. Now it says from a pipe you can drink. Because it's sino from the pipe you can drink. Tana, however, if it's because that's considered a makom patur, guys. It's coming. It's less than 3. It's guys. Since it's over here next to the roof, it's considered above 10. Since it's above 10 and it's going down and it's 3 tefachim wide, it's considered a makom patur. It's not 4. Masha'en kain. If it would be 4, it would be a caramelist, right? It will be a caramelist, and therefore in this scenario they won't be able to drink. It says minatzina nikomakam shaisa tanem yesh betzina dala dala asnaf neishu kemaitzi rishus rishus like mimaitzi from one rishus to another rishus. Next Mishnah, you have a bar. It's 10 tefachim high. The chuyas bar. You're in a house. You're drawing water into the house. You could do this. Okay, you could do this. Now, says the Gemara. Bar b'Rishus Harabim. It's in Rishus Harabim. However, the embankment of the bar is higher than 10. Chaloin shal gabov, the chaloin, the window that's on top. Chaloin shal gabov, mimalin imenu b'Shabbos, you're able to go ahead and pull it on Shabbos. It's not a problem. Anything above 10 is going to be considered a makom patur. Now we'll see. Is it pshat? It's a makom patur, or pshat is Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaYachid. Now, Ashba Rishus Harabim, Gevoya Yud Tefachim, Chaloin Shal Gabav, Shoichem L'Toicheb, Mayim B'Shabbos. This is an easy one. You have this scenario. You have throw the water out. It's speaking about Ashba Harabim that we're not worried that they're going to clean it up. If it's a Yachid, they may take it away. It's speaking of a Rabbim, and therefore you know it's there, and you won't be going from a Rishus HaYachid into a Rishus Harabim. You won't be going from Rishus HaYachid into a Rishus Harabim. Okay, this is you got the picture, guys? And Pashtus, we want to know how far is it away from the wall? It'll have an afkamina in halacha. But my skin, exactly what type of bar are we dealing with? Ilan v'smucha. If it's right next to it, meaning it's within 4 tefachim, then lamali chuya yud. Why do you need that? That should be 10, right? In other words, it should be a din of Rishus HaYachid itself. If it's close to 4, it's considered part of the house. So why would you need to create the Rishus HaYachid by having the chuya 10? The fact that it's within 4, it should be enough. So Rav Huna Chameyaskinon, Maflegas min HaKaisel Arba. It's a distance of 4 away. The time of the chuya asara, halakha chuya asara, kamakalta Rishus HaYachid derech Rishus Harabim. Okay, let's look at this picture. if this distance is more than 4, then, and this is not 10, right? If this is not 10, you'd be carrying what from Rishus HaYachid through Derech Rishus HaRabim. But since it is 10, it's above 10, therefore any airspace above 10 is a Makom Patur. By having this, guys, having this 10 high makes, when you carry it over this airspace, it makes it a Makom Patur. If this wasn't 10 high, and you have the water in the pit, let's say this was 9 high, and you combine the water in the pit for a total of 10, so you're going from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaYachid, but since it's only 9, the airspace over here would be considered Rishus HaRabim. So you'd be going from Rishus HaYachid over an airspace of Rishus HaRabim into Rishus HaYachid. So therefore, you needed 10 high to create the Makom Patur. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Afilu Tema B'Smucha, it could be right next to it. And here's the Chiddush. It's not speaking where this is 10. It's speaking this is 5. And the pit is 5. And we'll combine the two together to make it 10. In Hadad Kamashman, the Bar B'Chlu Yusay Mitztaf L'Asara. Bar and its Chlu Yusay Mitztaf L'Asara. So there's either two pshatim. It's either a distance from the wall and you have an airspace in the wall. I need 10 to make that airspace of Makom Patur. Or it's next to the wall, and the chiddush is that even though it itself is not 10, but with combining the depth of the pit, it creates 10. That would be the other pshat. Ashba Rishus HaRabim, the case of the Ashba now. What are we worried about? L'chayra, you should worry. They're going to take away the Ashba. They take away the Ashba. You throw the water out. You're finished. Aren't you scared? You're going to go ahead and take away the garbage dump. But Ravin bar Rav Ada, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Ma'aseh b'Mavui Echad, earlier in the Masechta, way back when, way back. Mavui, and you had two sides to the Mavui. It was a Mavui Mafulish. On one side, Kila Layam, one side it entered the sea, but see the Echad, Kila La'ashpa, and the other one entered the Ashpa. Rabbi did not say Lo Issa Lo Heta. He didn't say whether you can carry it or not. Maybe they'll take away the ashpa and it'll be a mavim foolish. The yala hayam sirtoin, and the yam will go ahead and cover up the wall by sediment growing up. Isalayamaba, the kind of mechitzais, because right now you have 4 mechitzais. Bottom line is you see a chayish dawat, maybe you're going to take away the garbage dump. So how can you throw water out the window? Maybe you're going to take away the garbage dump. Right. I'm Mishnah that says that you could throw it out as speaking of a rabbin, speaking about the Maisa. Yeah, I'm Mishnah speaking of a rabbin. Since it's a rabbin, you don't have to worry, you're going to take it away. Rebbe's was speaking about what? The garbage dump of a yachid. Garbage dump of a yachid, and any which time its possibility exists that they will go ahead and take it away. I thank you, as always, I thank you all for listening.